This week, once again, we've woken up horrified in the wake of the endless storm of Russian missiles that struck several cities in Ukraine. Innocent civilians are murdered in the center of Kiev. Missiles raining down on playgrounds. Terror and suffering. That is the real face of the cruelty and brutality of Putin. This is his new strategy of terror that we cannot get used to. Ladies and gentlemen, this week the European Council is going to have to tackle many of the consequences and challenges linked to this war, which is also an offensive against Europe, an offensive based on blackmail that wants to divide citizens, that wants to infuriate us and threaten our industry, and it wants to sow social discontent. The EU needs to respond forcefully and take strengthened social measures and a new instrument that is going to protect the most vulnerable sectors and that will help them tackle high inflation and the increased cost of living. And that is why it's necessary for the EU to implement a solidarity mechanism in order to redistribute the exorbitant and unfair profits of energy companies and in order to halt unacceptable speculation. But this isn't going to be enough if we don't tackle energy prices or energy supply, because in order to win this war, we've got to move forward with energy autonomy. The measures unveiled by the European Commission yesterday are positive, but they are not very ambitious. First of all, we have to act very quickly in order to decouple the gas prices from electricity, and President von der Leyen talked about the Iberian exception that could be extended to the rest of the EU, but we've got to do so immediately. Secondly, we've got to move forward with determination in order to cap imported gas prices. The proposal on the table has a 3-month time period, and that's not soon enough, and there isn't much detail either. Thirdly, we've got to move forward with a joint purchasing mechanism. And the European Parliament has to be involved in these negotiations. We can't not have a restrictive interpretation of Article 122, ladies and gentlemen. That's unacceptable. The European Parliament has to be involved in the negotiations, and we want the European Commission to correct this. If we did this for COVID vaccines, why can't we do it now? Now, this week, European leaders are not going to have any other option but to agree on how we're going to make headway. We just cannot copy and paste the conclusions of the March and June councils. No, we are going to have to come up with decisive decisions immediately. And this is going to be the last meeting where Italy will be represented by Mario Draghi. We are aware of the reasons, and the European People's Party knows full well what these reasons are. Mr. Weber and Mr. Berlusconi keep reiterating that Forza Italia is going to be the guarantee of a pro-European, pro-NATO government that defends union values. Allow me to call this into question. Forza Italia has moved from being the centre-right pillar and government leader to the prop of post-fascism and political irrelevance. Now, allow me to call this into question. Given the new majorities, Mr. Weber, look at the Speaker of the Senate, that's Ignazio Benito La Russo, who pines for the 20 years of fascism, and he holds the second highest ranking office of the Italian Republic. The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies is the pro-Putin and anti-abortionist Lorenzo Fontana. He's a Eurosceptic and a homophobe, and we know him well in the Parliament. And he now holds the third highest ranking office in the Italian Republic. Think about the times of Merkel. There were no alliances with the far right, Mr. Weber. Now, I'm going to call into question what the EPP says is going to make sure is the case. The huge challenge at the moment is unity in Europe, Mr. Weber. I am stretching out my hand to you. Please come back to what we constructed here as pro-European forces. Thank you.
Thank you. I pass the floor now to the President of the Renew Europe Group, Stéphane Séjourné.